Okay, imagine this. What if I told you that you could drop, say, 20 pounds in just 30 days and without setting foot on a treadmill?
Or how about gaining over 30 pounds of muscle in under a month?
Yeah, sounds a bit like those late night infomercials, doesn't it?
It does. Or maybe even crazier,
Yeah,
influencing your lifespan to maybe hit 120.
exactly. These are the kinds of, well, audacious claims made by Tim Ferriss in his book, The 4-Hour Body. It was a #1 bestseller.
Right. And the thing is, he doesn't just throw these claims out there. He backs them up, not with abstract theory, but with, like, really rigorous personal experiments.
So welcome, everyone, to the Deep Dive. This is where we unpack compelling ideas, surprising facts, and today, yeah, we're digging into excerpts from that source, The 4-Hour Body, an uncommon guide to rapid fat loss, incredible sex, and becoming superhuman. Quite the title.
It is. And our goal today, really, is to pull out the essential bits for you from this material. We want to help you understand Ferriss's pretty unconventional ways of looking at body transformation.
And maybe even spark some ideas for your own experiments.
Hopefully, without getting totally swamped by all the information in the book, because there is a lot. Think of this as your shortcut to grasping his core philosophy.
Okay, let's jump in then. The guy behind all this, Timothy Ferriss. It's important to know right off the bat, he's not a doctor, doesn't have a PhD in this stuff.
No, he calls himself a meticulous data cruncher and, crucially, a relentless self-experimenter. He basically uses his own body as a testing ground, a lab of one.
And his background kind of informs this, doesn't it? He wasn't always just a writer.
Not at all. He was CEO of a sports nutrition company. So he saw firsthand, what doesn't work in the typical fitness world.
Ah, okay, so he saw the hype, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That perspective, plus his willingness to, really risk things for an experiment, that's the core of his approach. It's less about sticking to dogma and more about, finding what actually gets results.
So it's not just about the experiments themselves, but a different way of thinking, like looking for answers in weird places.
Precisely. His whole philosophy is finding uncommon solutions in uncommon places. He's always looking outside the usual suspects for breakthroughs.
A laboratory of one. I like that.
And he really commits. The numbers are kind of staggering.
Yeah.
Over 1,000 blood tests, sometimes, every couple of weeks, tracking absolutely everything.
Wow.
And he spent, get this, over $250,000 just on testing and tweaking things on himself.
$250,000 on himself.
Yeah. So this isn't just armchair theorizing. It's about rolling up your sleeves, being your own scientist, collecting your own data.
And that dedication, that self-experimentation, it led him to a pretty radical idea, didn't it? Something like, everything popular is wrong.
That's one of the core premises, yeah.
Yeah.
It's provocative, but the point isn't just to be contrarian. It's about empowering you, the listener, to question all that conventional wisdom you hear about health and fitness.
Because the real answers might be where no one else is looking.
That's the idea. He really pushes back on things we take for granted, like the simple calories in, calories out model for weight loss.
Right. Everyone knows that one.
Well, he argues it's incomplete, massively incomplete, actually. He suggests focusing on your diet composition, your hormones. That's often way more effective than just trying to count calories.
Which is really hard to do accurately anyway.
Exactly. It's notoriously difficult.
Yeah.
So why focus on something so flawed?
Okay, what else does he challenge?
Well, the difference between exercise and recreation. This is a big one.
I thought they were kind of the same thing. Going for a run, playing tennis.
See, that's the common view. But he draws a sharp line. Recreation is for fun, baseball, yoga, whatever you enjoy. Exercise, in his view, has a specific purpose: to produce measurable changes.
Measurable changes, like fat loss, muscle gain.
Precisely. Fat loss, muscle increase, better performance. You need what he calls measurable stimuli. So that relaxing yoga class, great for stress, may be flexible, but likely not exercise by his definition unless you're rigorously tracking specific strength or flexibility gains.
Interesting distinction. So if you can't measure the change, it's fun, but maybe not effective for transformation.
That's his argument. And he applies similar scrutiny to supplements. His take is basically, a drug is a drug.
Meaning even vitamins
Yes.
or protein powder.
Yeah, dietary supplements, over-the-counter stuff, nutraceuticals. He lumps them together. Why? Because they produce an effect in your bloodstream. They alter your chemistry.
Huh. So you should evaluate them just as critically as, well, actual medication.
That's the implication. Understand what it's doing inside you. Don't just pop pills because someone recommended them.
And this leads to a different kind of goal, doesn't it? It's not just about losing weight on the scale.
No, absolutely not. He pushes this idea of recomposition. Forget just weight loss.
Recomposition, what does that mean exactly?
It's about changing your body's composition, the mix of fat and muscle. So a common goal he mentions isn't losing 20 pounds. It might be losing 15 pounds of fat while gaining 5 pounds of muscle.
Ah, so your total weight might only change by 10 pounds, but you'd look and feel completely different, stronger, leaner.
Exactly. It's about reshaping your body, making it healthier, stronger, not just shrinking it.
So how does he suggest prioritizing things to achieve that? Diet, exercise, supplements.
He has this concept called the 100-unit slider. It's quite revealing. For most of his fat loss examples, the breakdown is something like this. 60% diet.
60%. Wow.
Yeah. Then maybe 10% for drugs or supplements and 30% for exercise.
Only 10% for supplements. That flies in the face of a lot of marketing.
It really does. It underscores that diet and exercise are the absolute bedrock. Supplements are, well, supplementary. They can help, but they're not the main event.
That 60% for diet is huge.
Okay.
So if diet is key, and we're questioning things,
Huh.
what about common pitfalls in thinking?
Oh, he hits hard on logical fallacies, like confusing correlation with causation.
Right, just because two things happen together doesn't mean one caused the other. Like ice cream sales and crime rates both go up in summer.
Exactly. He urges huge skepticism there, especially with health headlines. Don't assume cause and effect without strong evidence. It's a good life rule, honestly, not just for fitness.
What about dieting itself? People often fail, regain the weight. The dreaded yo-yo.
Well, here's another counterintuitive bit. He says, embrace the yo-yo.
Embrace it. Isn't that failure?
Not the way he frames it. He suggests that planned cycling, basically, strategic cheat days or refeed days where you eat more, can actually prevent your metabolism from slowing down, that hormonal downregulation.
So having that slice of cheesecake isn't necessarily derailing things.
He literally says cheesecake can be had and eaten too,
Yeah.
if you time it right. It's about strategic indulgence to keep the system optimized, not just random cheating.
Okay, interesting. And what about genetics? People often say, oh, it's just my genes. I can't help it.
He tackles that head on. Predisposition versus predestination. Yes, you might be predisposed to certain things, genetically, but you're not predestined.
Meaning you still have control.
A lot of control. Your environment, your training, your diet, these things can absolutely influence how those genes express themselves.
Yeah.
You're not just stuck with the hand you were dealt. It's actually quite empowering.
It is. And he also seems to dislike vague fitness terms.
Oh, yeah. He calls out nebulous terms, marketer speak. Things like toning or cellulite or even optimal.
Why? What's wrong with toning?
His challenge is simple.
Right.
Can I measure it?
Right.
If you can't objectively measure tone, how do you know if you're achieving it? It's not a useful, actionable goal. It's probably just marketing fluff.
That's a really powerful filter. Can I measure it? Okay, but let's get to this really mind-bending one. Why a calorie isn't a calorie? I mean, come on. A calorie is a unit of energy, right?
It is, technically.
Yeah.
But that's where conventional thinking stops, and Ferriss argues that's the mistake.
So, what else is there?
It's about what that calorie makes your bloodstream do, the hormonal response it triggers. That, he argues, matters way more than the raw energy value.
Okay, give me an example.
He cites this fascinating old study, Keckwick and Pawan. They fed people diets with the exact same number of calories, isocaloric diets.
Okay.
But the diets had vastly different compositions. Like, one group got 90% of calories from fat, another 90% from protein, another 90% from carbs. Same total calories for everyone.
And the results? Did they lose the same weight?
Not even close. The weight changes were dramatically different depending on what they ate, even though the calorie count was identical.
Yeah.
The high-fat group lost the most. The high-carb group actually gained a bit, I believe.
Wow. Okay, that is a paradigm shift. It's not just the number, it's the source.
Exactly. It's about the biochemical signal that food sends to your body.
And speaking of signals and bodies, he also addresses concerns specific to women in training, right? The fear of getting bulky.
Yes, he tackles that common misconception. He basically puts it down to much lower testosterone levels in women compared to men. He calls the fear, or the advice based on it, sexism in exercise.
So women shouldn't be afraid to lift heavy.
His point is that, based on the data he presents, muscle fiber composition can be changed. You should eat and train for the outcome you want, not based on outdated fears or assumptions about gender differences.
Okay, so we've talked about the physical changes, the challenging of ideas,
Yeah.
but often the biggest hurdle is mental, right? Getting started, staying committed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that brings us to something Ferriss calls your Harajuku moment.
Harajuku. like the place in Tokyo.
Yeah, the name comes from an experience he had there, but the concept is universal. It's that critical epiphany, that tipping point. The moment a goal shifts from being a nice-to-have to an absolute must-have.
The moment you just decide, okay, I'm doing this for real this time.
Precisely. It's deciding to become, as he puts it, a complete human, fully committed to the change.
And how does tracking play into this? Does that help trigger the moment or sustain it?
It's huge for sustaining it and maybe even triggering it. What's really insightful is his point that consistent tracking, even if the things you're tracking seem kind of basic or mediocre, can lead to profound changes in behavior.
So you don't need a super complex spreadsheet from day one.
No, just the simple act of tracking creates awareness.
Yeah.
You start noticing patterns.
He has a story about this, right? Someone who lost a lot of weight.
Yeah, Chad Fowler. He was a CTO, technically minded guy, lost over 70 pounds. His Harajuku moment came when he saw himself in some fancy clothes and realized, as he put it, how unfashionable he looked purely because of his weight. That was his trigger.
And what did he do? Jump into some insane workout regime?
Nope. His approach was surprisingly simple. Started with cardio he actually enjoyed. Just paid attention to it, made tiny improvements each day. He turned it into a game, not a chore, which made it easy to stick with.
That sounds much more achievable, making it a game.
And Ferriss also acknowledges something interesting about numbers, like calorie counts. He kind of calls it the bullshit of numbers.
Wait, didn't we just talk about how important measurement is?
We did, but here's the nuance. He says even if the numbers aren't perfectly scientifically accurate, like maybe your calorie tracking is off by 10%, they can still be directionally right.
Meaning they point you in the right general direction.
Exactly. What matters most is the big difference that tracking inspires in your behavior, even if the numbers themselves aren't lab perfect. It's about getting close enough to make a massive impact.
Okay, that makes sense. Find simple ways to stay motivated.
Totally. Like he points out a simple fact. Losing just 10 pounds is often equivalent to dropping a full clothing size, like going from an XL to an L or L to M.
That's actually a really tangible motivator, seeing the change in how your clothes fit.
It can be huge, yeah. Very visible progress.
So this all leads into how to actually stick with a plan. He talks about failure proofing, right? Like building safeguards.
Yes, 4 principles of failure proofing. He frames them as insurance against those very human tendencies that make us quit. You know, weakness, lack of motivation, getting bored.
Okay, insurance policy. I like that. What's the first principle?
Number 1, make it conscious. This is about facing reality. Taking before photos is a big part of this.
Ugh, nobody likes before photos.
I know. But he says put them somewhere you cannot avoid seeing them. Fridge, bathroom mirror, phone lock screen. It forces you to see your starting point.
Okay. Painful, but maybe effective.
And get this.
Yeah.
He mentions research suggesting photo diaries of your meals can be 3 times more effective for weight loss than just writing down what you ate. Seeing it makes it real.
Wow. 3 times. Okay, that's compelling. What's principle 2?
Make it a game. This taps into something called the Hawthorne effect.
Hawthorne effect rings a bell. That's where people change their behavior just because they know they're being observed or measured.
Exactly. Just the act of tracking your progress, seeing those numbers move, creates this positive feedback loop. It makes you want to keep going.
So measurement itself becomes motivation.
Right. And he suggests a simple rule to get started. The Take 5 rule. Commit to just 5 workouts or logging 5 meals. That builds stickiness. Once you hit 5, you're way more likely to continue.
5. That seems doable. Okay, number 3.
Make it competitive. This leverages a powerful psychological insight. The fear of loss is often a stronger motivator than the joy of winning.
So we hate losing more than we love winning.
Often, yes. He points to platforms like Daily Burn, where users in competitions lost significantly more weight. That peer pressure, the stakes of potentially losing the competition, it drives action. Having skin in the game.
Okay, competition or maybe just accountability to others.
Could be either, yeah. And the final one, number 4, make it small and temporary.
Small and temporary. How does that work?
Instead of committing to some huge, daunting lifestyle overhaul forever, commit to tiny changes for a short period, maybe just for 1 or 2 weeks.
Like, I'll follow this diet rule perfectly for just 7 days.
Exactly. It lowers the pressure, makes it feel achievable, and builds momentum. Then these small initial steps lead to what he calls consonant decisions. Bigger changes start to feel natural and aligned with that first small step. You build the habit brick by brick.
That sounds much less intimidating. Are there examples of people using these?
Yeah, great ones. Ramit Sethi, another well-known online entrepreneur, he wanted to gain muscle. He made a public bet. That's the competitive angle.
Ah, putting money and reputation on a line.
Right. He ignored the doubters, focused purely on following Ferriss's method without getting bogged down in why it worked, and used those small temporary commitments. Result? Gained 15 pounds of muscle in about 3 months.
Impressive. Any others?
Phil Libin, the former CEO of Evernote. His story is great. He called his approach pragmatic laziness.
Pragmatic laziness, my kind of approach. What did he do?
He lost 28 pounds in 6 months, simply by weighing himself every single day and tracking it on a spreadsheet.
That's it. No crazy diet, no intense workouts.
Not as the primary focus. His main tool was just awareness. Weighing himself daily made him conscious of fluctuations in how different foods or activities affected him. His goal, he said, was to lose weight slowly and without any effort.
So it was pure awareness training fueled by simple, consistent tracking, making it conscious and making it a game, basically.
Exactly. It shows the power of just paying attention.
Okay, so tracking and measurement are key. But we touched on this earlier. The scale isn't always the best measure, right?
Right. This brings us to measuring what truly matters, which is often beyond the scale. Relying only on your weight can be super misleading.
Because of that recomposition idea. Muscle versus fat.
Precisely. If you're strength training, you might be gaining dense muscle while losing fluffy fat. The scale might barely budge or even go up slightly, but you're actually getting leaner and healthier.
So the scale doesn't tell the whole story.
Not at all. Remember that Subject X example, the 65-year-old guy?
Yeah, he lost only 8 pounds and felt depressed.
But the real story, hidden from the scale, was that he'd lost 18 pounds of fat and gained 10 pounds of muscle.
That's incredible. A huge win.
A massive win. But the scale didn't show it. That's why knowing your physical GPS, your actual body composition, is so vital. You need accurate measurements.
Okay, so if not just the scale, what tools does he recommend for measuring body fat?
His top 3 recommendations are DSA scans.
That's dual energy X-ray absorption geometry, right? Sounds high-tech.
It is. Used a lot in clinical settings. Costs maybe $50 to $100. Gives really detailed info. Even shows muscle imbalances left to right.
Okay, what else?
The bod pod. This uses air displacement. You sit inside a little chamber. Costs around $25 to $50 per test. Good, because they can handle very large individuals, over 500 pounds even.
And the third?
Body Metrix. This is a handheld ultrasound device. He apparently used this one quite a bit himself. There's even talk of a personal version coming out for under $500.
Ultrasound. Interesting. So X-ray, air, ultrasound, different methods.
Very different. And that's why he cautions against comparing results between different types of tools. Stick to one method for consistency.
Good tip. Any other cautions?
Yeah, if you use those bioelectrical impedance scales, the ones you stand on that claim to measure body fat hydration levels matter a lot. Being dehydrated can skew the results badly.
So weigh yourself under consistent conditions.
Definitely. And if you use skin-fold calipers, make sure you're using the same calculation method, the same algorithm every time. Consistency is king for tracking progress.
Okay, so once you measure, what are good goals? What's a healthy body fat percentage?
He gives some general starting points. For men, maybe 20% body fat is considered obese, 12% is like having some extra padding, and down around 5% is competitive athlete territory.
And for women?
Similar idea, different numbers. Maybe 25% is obese, 18% for that extra padding, and again, 5% for competitive athletes, though female essential fat levels are naturally higher. These are just benchmarks. Obviously, individual goals vary.
Right. And he mentioned another type of fat to track, visceral fat.
Yes, this is really important. Visceral fat is the stuff around your internal organs. You can't pinch it.
And that's the dangerous kind.
It's strongly linked to health risks, yeah. He suggests it's especially important to track if your overall body fat is over 25% or if you're older. Some methods, like DEXA, can give you an indication of visceral fat levels.
Okay, lots to measure beyond just weight. Let's switch gears to maybe the most famous part of the book, the slow-carb diet.
Ah, yes. The diet that comes with that bold promise. Lose 20 pounds in 30 days, without exercise being the main driver. It's all about optimizing diet.
And it's based on really simple rules, right?
Conceptually simple. Rule number 1, avoid white carbohydrates.
Okay, white carbs. What falls under that?
Think bread, rice, including brown, pasta, potatoes, cereals, tortillas. Also, anything fried with breading. Basically, easily digestible processed carbs.
Even brown rice. I thought that was healthy.
He argues against it on this specific plan for rapid fat loss. And the why he gives for avoiding white flour is interesting, if a bit controversial.
Oh, that's the reason.
He points to chemicals used in bleaching flour, like chlorine dioxide. He suggests these can combine to form alloxin.
Alexin, what's that?
It's a chemical that, he notes, has been used in labs to induce diabetes in rats.
Seriously. So it's not just about the carbs themselves, but potential contaminants in processed versions.
That's the specific angle he highlights for bleached flour. It adds another layer to just saying avoid carbs.
Okay, rule 1, avoid white carbs. What's rule 2?
Rule 2 is actually pretty freeing for busy people.
Yeah.
Eat the same few meals over and over again.
Really? Doesn't that get boring?
Maybe. But he argues that successful dieters, people who actually stick to it, often have a very limited menu. It removes decision fatigue. You just know what you're going to eat.
Okay, I can see the practicality. So what can you eat on this limited menu?
He breaks it down into approved categories. For proteins, things like egg whites, whole eggs, chicken breast or thigh, grass-fed beef, fish, pork.
Okay, standard protein sources.
Then legumes are big.
Mm.
Lentils, black beans, pinto beans, red beans, soybeans. These are key carb sources on the diet.
Beans and lentils instead of bread and rice. Got it.
And vegetables. Spinach is great. Mixed veggies like broccoli, cauliflower. Also things like sauerkraut, kimchi, asparagus, peas, green beans.
So protein, legumes, veggies.
Yeah. And the instruction is basically eat as much as you like from these lists. Keep it simple. Don't overthink it.
Eat as much as you like. No portion control.
Within those categories, yeah. The idea is that these foods are satiating and don't spike blood sugar like the white carbs do. Oh, and he jokes about a six-pack tax. If you try to make substitutions when eating out, just stick to the plan.
Huh. Okay, so simplicity, consistency, it seems to be the running theme.
Absolutely. It all ties back to that idea of the minimum effective dose, or MED. Find the simplest thing that delivers the biggest result with the least amount of complexity or effort. Design your diet, your exercise for maximum efficiency.
So wrapping this all up, what's the big takeaway from digging into the 4-hour body?
I think the biggest thing is that real, profound body transformation. It isn't necessarily about just grinding harder or restricting more calories like we're often told.
It's more strategic than that.
Much more. It's about leveraging your own psychology, like with the failure proofing. It's about understanding basic biochemistry, how food actually affects your hormones. And maybe most importantly, it's about turning your body into your own personal lab.
Becoming your own scientist again.
Right.
Radical self-experimentation.
Exactly. Challenging those assumptions everyone else takes for granted. Finding your minimum effective dose for diet, for exercise.
And measuring. Measuring precisely what matters, like body composition, not just chasing trends or relying on fuzzy concepts or just the number on the scale.
Right. It really shifts the whole thing from something passive like following a generic plan to something you actively control, experiment with, and optimize for yourself.
It puts you in the driver's seat of your own biology, in a way.
That's a great way to put it. So, thinking about everything we've just unpacked, maybe the question for you, the listener, is, what single uncommon change, what small experiment are you going to try first in your own personal laboratory?